Hey there crew members, Starfleet personnel, welcome to another deep dive into the USS Enterprise 1701 and only interior build. A lot of work done on this since the last video, 6 days ago I think it was. Lots of detail going on. It's quite a way of completion yet. I said 2 videos ago that the next video I'll show you the complete version, so I'm going to stop doing that in videos. I'm going to start making those promises, because the more I get into this, the more I realise that there's a lot to take into consideration. But I'm really happy with the way it's going. I'm really happy, and I've just got to say again, I say this in every video. I'm absolutely stunned on phaser level 3 now. With the support that's coming in for this project, and the channel is 5 weeks old, and it's now over 2,000 subscribers, so I'm enthusiastic. And I'm getting more enthusiastic when the fantastic comments come in as well. You know, I'm getting comments from people that are real fans, like one guy today making the portion of the Deck 6 corridor, and one guy today just came and he said, I can already see Loci being chased through that corridor. And it's just heartwarming to get those kind of feedbacks. So thank you for your support. If you haven't already subscribed, then you know what to do. Press the button and the bell, and give the video a like. Anyway, let's go people. I've got a lot to show you again. As always, I just like to present the model as it is up front like this, so you can basically get a general overview of the size of the model compared to me as well. It's 1/25th scale. It's going to be huge, so boom, crazy. So I like to show you that. I like to give you the full overview of the model, and then we'll go handheld as we normally do, because there's a lot of little details in this. I've been continue to build the Deck 7 level with the briefing room. I've also made, just today actually, this morning I was up early today, just kind of basically getting a little bit of a feel for the one of the crew quarters, and I've got quite strong feelings about these crew quarters, about the idea of shared quarters, or do you have your own private room. I've got quite strong feelings about that, but I'll get to that another time. Anyway, so without further ado, let's just go handheld, and then I'll take you through. Okay, so we're going to start down here on Deck 7. Remember, this is the front of the saucer section, the outside edge of the saucer section. Again, just a quick look at those enormous support structures. Here we are. I mean, this is all just randomly placed, but I made a nice little Starfleet bed, crew quarters bed. I'm just going to turn that around to give you a look at it. And you know, in the TV, in the show, we never actually saw any covers on these beds, so I'm not sure where that was at, really. I mean, I don't know. Everybody, if you're going to go to bed and go to sleep, you know, you don't just lie on a mattress, you cover yourself with something. So I've made a little nice, neat, folded blanket on the bed here with the Starfleet logo. So this is the bed that might greet a crew member when they first come on board the ship and they go to their quarters, and it's kind of laid out like this with a nice, neat blanket. A few old style books there on the blanket and the Starfleet insignia. I'm not sure. I'm just going to take this out because I want to show you something awesome, and I'm not sure if the camera can pick it up, but can you see that texture? Can you see that texture on the orange mattress? Yeah, there you can see it. So I got that by rolling a torch. It's a torch that had like this texture on the outside of it for grip, and I just rolled the torch over Fimo. So this orange mattress is made of Fimo, and there you can see that fantastic texture on the mattress. So I'm very happy about that. It's very, very close to that kind of texture that we saw in the show. And there's a few items at the side of the bed and a little kind of rolled up head support there. So I'm just going to put that back in the crew quarters. A little bit of information about these beds. See this one here, this grey piece here. This is actually a 1/25th scale single bed, which measures 90 centimeters across by 190 long. And you can see that you're not really, I mean, he must be a bit of a tall guy, but you can see that, I mean, it's okay, you can sleep on it, but there's not much room. So what I've done is I've created a slightly bigger bed for the crew there. Okay, so that's kind of the beginning of the mapping out of the crew quarters there. You can see if I pull out and pull up that I've applied more of those support girders for the deck 6 flooring, and then we come across to further development on the briefing room. So I've got in place now 3 of the smaller internal supports in the briefing room. There's that awesome screen again that I made from the Apple EarPod packaging. And oh wow, I mean, you could, there it is, look, I mean, you can get a feel for the size of this ship now. And then we just look up to the enormous superstructure, front edge of the saucer section there. Okay, again, I just can't make a video without giving you a look down into the corridor space there. And already, okay, with this build, already I'm showing you something that you never saw before. So you never saw this in the show. Even though we did see a curving corridor, the curve was more acute than this. It was more kind of, because it was further in towards the saucer section, whereas this is further out, so the curve is like a real wide sweep. Then up to deck 7 again, and then we're going to come high because I want to show you something. I'm going to show you the beginning of the work on deck 7, but also an interesting little detail. So we can already see there the beginning of deck 7 in relation to deck 6. Oh, sorry, the beginning of deck 6 in relation to deck 7. Okay, some of the doorways. But what I've done here is I've kept open some of the floor plating of deck 6, so you can get an idea of some of the wiring and the systems that are working underneath the floors travelling around the ship. This underfloor stuff will contain things like atmospheric sensors, lighting systems, also gravitational systems, underfloor gravitational systems, however that works. We don't go too deep into that one. And again, some of the comments on the Facebook post that I've done and on the YouTube videos are amazing. Quite a few people just came in almost straight away when I posted this in the Facebook group, and they said, I hope some of those pipes have got GNDN on it. And if you're a Star Trek fan, an original series Star Trek fan, you know exactly what that means. Okay, GNDN. So there we go. I'm also looking to put LED lighting under the floor of deck 6, so that then we get ceiling lighting on deck 7. Now, remember this little model that I made in a previous video? This was like one of the first test models that I made. This will give you a really great idea of how it's going to go. So there's deck 6 running around the outside edge, and then this will be eventually, and I'm going to build this into the model, so you'll be coming around deck 6 here, and then at some point there will be a junction where a straight corridor comes off and moves towards the interior of the saucer section there. Okay, so I'm really looking forward to bringing that element in. Let me show you something else. So again, so here we have support girders moving across the front edge of the saucer section to support deck 6. And again, as you know, these are all slide in, slide out. So just for a moment, I'm going to slide this one out so I can show you a detail here. So yesterday I was playing with the idea of ceiling lighting for these decks. Now when we saw the lighting in the show, you know, of course we know that was just like floodlights with sometimes coloured gels on them that the director would place in strategic positions, and we never saw that. But with the idea of this being a real ship, there's got to be some kind of lighting design for the inside of the ship. And you know what? One thing that I don't want is I don't want exposed strip lights. I think that's so invasive. Like, you see that on some of the other ships on the later designs of like the next generation ships, and all this like white strip lighting all over the place. Quite stressful to the eyes, really. So what I'm working with is strip lighting, but with diffusing panels in front of that lighting, so that it's more of a gentle light that comes down into these corridors. Because that was the one thing about the Enterprise in the original series. It always seemed really kind of, just the colour scheme and the way it was lit, it always seemed really, you know, pleasant to the eye, like the kind of place that you actually would like to be. So they're pulling out there. Just going to go into the next room and give you another view inside, and we'll look down at the corridor. So you can see those nice red beams, or support beams overhead. There, it's okay. So you can see my ideas around the lighting. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but it's something that I'm testing. So you can see the diffusing panels under the strip lighting. So that when I get the lighting in there, I'm going to use LED strips. Hopefully it will just cast a very, very nice light down into the rooms and the corridors of the ship. So I'll just pull out again. As always, let me know what you think about this. Let me know what your thoughts are about this build. Getting quite the inevitable kind of commentaries and questions about remaining canon to the design of the ship, and also to the Franz Josef blueprints, which are fantastic. I mean, I've had those blueprints for like 20 years now. I've been over every inch of that ship, and they're fantastic, but those blueprints are flawed to do with deck height and such. So there is going to be a little bit of creative, well, maybe quite a lot of creative license here that I'm going to change a few things. And also just another thing, this thing about canon. If you are into canon, it's completely okay with me. I'm good with it. You know, the timeline, and is it the Kelvin timeline, is it the... all that kind of thing. I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly okay with that. But one thing that I'm focusing on with this build is, like, when I first saw Star Trek, 6 or 7 years old, when I first saw Star Trek, there was actually no such thing as canon. It was just Star Trek. And there was also, interestingly, no such thing as the original series, because nothing else had come after it yet. So all there was Star Trek. And all the canon stuff and the idea of the original series is stuff that came after. So I'm trying to stay pure to that. And I think, I really feel intuitively that when the artists, the designers, the writers, the producers were doing those original episodes and the original series, I honestly don't think they had in mind, things like deck height, and does it fit with the outside of dimensions of the ship, and does this episode that we're making now fit with the last episode, and they made a lot of mistakes, and it was just that they were just making Star Trek sci-fi show. I think they would have been quite shocked if they could have seen into the future and realised just how kind of like deeply into the idea of timelines and canon. I think people would become. I think in those days they were just writing things, and like I said, they would make mistakes. Anyway, ramble. Ramble alert. So I'm just trying to stay pure TOS with this, with if the deck height needs to be a certain height to make it like sensible for people to be walking around in this ship, then I'm going to use that deck height. And as far as the external dimensions of the ship go, if that means that the saucer section goes from this high to this high, a little bit more, then I'm going to go with that, okay? And ultimately, as it states in my opening mission statement, ultimately, what I'm working to do here is just show the interior as closely as I can get it to what we saw in the show, but also with some, quite what I consider to be logical and sensible adjustments. Because one thing, like, you can see when I showed you the bed that it's got a blanket on it, and we never saw that in the show. But of course, if this was a real ship, people would be furnishing and decorating their quarters with all kinds of personal things. It's their personal space, and they would have blankets, they would have duvets, they would have pillows and cushions, and maybe, when the ship visits a planet, they might go down, one of these like the bazaar planets where there's traders and all those kind of things on those planets. They would be coming back onto the ship with souvenirs from those planets, and maybe they like a nice woven blanket that's some like green, somebody green had made. I can't think of the name of the slave girl now, but the different cultures will be making all kinds of different things, and they'll be coming back onto the ship with souvenirs that they will decorate their place with. Also, please let me know what your thoughts are about this. It's really important to me. I read every single comment that comes in on these videos. Let me know what you think about this, because this is a big ship, and when I'm designing it, I see quite a lot of work, CGI work of the interior of the Enterprise, and it's awesome. I love it. I'm so impressed with some of these designs and interpretations that I see of the interior. But it all just looks like some tables and some Burke chairs placed around in these environments. And to me, there would be a uniform style, TOS style that we saw in the show. But seriously, I'm sure there would be other things. It wouldn't just be Burke chairs and tables on every deck in all the rooms. I mean, come on. So my interpretation would be that there would be like themed cafes on board this ship. There would be like an Italian restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, somewhere where you can get like Mexican food or traditional, I don't know, steak and chips, something like that. And that also would be part of the recreation for the crew. So of course you've got the kind of dispensers where you can push a button and get some chicken soup. Oh, I wish I could do that. Just go in the kitchen, push a button and get like a nice Indian curry. So of course that is an element that will be on the ship, but also recreation, like cooking, making real food, making, areas where there would be the smell of beautiful food and that kind of thing. So I'm going to incorporate that into this ship. But okay, I am rambling now, but please just give me a feedback. Also, let me know what you would like to see on this channel, and any ideas that you might have of further development. I've got a pretty clear idea of where it's going. I've got another crazy idea. Well, it's not crazy. It's incredible. It is the test model after this is going to be a 1/25th scale dorsal section. I'm not kidding. That is going to be absolutely epic. And when I do that dorsal section, I'm not going to do it as detailed as this, because this is actually turning into quite a detailed model. But the dorsal section, okay, are you ready for this? 1/25th scale, it's going to be the decks in the dorsal section, I hope you can still see me, are going to be some way wider, longer than this piece of cardboard here, and it's going to be right up here. I think there's 11 decks. No, how many decks? There's kind of deck 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 decks in the dorsal section. So it's going to be a massive model, and again, fulfilling the mission that I have of this, fulfilling to demonstrate just how big this original ship was. Okay, thanks for staying with me. Again, please do like and subscribe to the channel, and give the videos a like. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your continued support, and as always, I hope the video finds you well, and I'll see you again soon with the development of this, which, like I say, I'm not going to make any promises anymore, but another 6 days of modelling on this should be bringing it into focus, and then you will also see I'm going to put some of the shell on the outside with the windows in place, so you can clearly get a feel for that. See you soon in the next video, and let's finish there.